The tale of three covers all in one day. They all have their pros, they all have their cons. They're all different prices. Welcome back to Truck Central. I'm Mr. Justin Wheeler, and this is the 2019 Ram 1500 Limited High Mileage Edition. Now, we've seen that the best performing video, or your favorite video so far on the channel, has been the 3 bed cover comparison video. So our friends over at realtruck.com, who also sponsored this video, sent us 2 more bed covers, to install on the old dusty Dodge here. And it'll cover a few things. We're going to go over some different makes and models than what was gone over in the previous bed cover comparison video. And then we're also going to talk about how it fits in with the RamBox interface that obviously is a Dodge, or a Ram exclusive, offering. But if you have a Ram with RamBoxes, this will be relevant to you because there's not a whole lot of RamBox bed cover comparison videos out there. If you don't have RamBoxes, this is still applicable because all of these products can still be provided and installed on trucks without RamBoxes. They're very standard parts. So we've got the Truxedo Truck Sport soft rolling bed cover that is currently on the truck, that I've had on the truck since it was brand new, and it's got close to 150,000 miles on it. We're also going to be installing an Xstang Exceed hard folding bed cover. I know you can't see it. I've got bed cover parts scattered all over my garage floor, so I'll zoom in on those here in a minute. And we have a Retrax 1 MX hard rolling bed cover. So what we're going to do first, we're going to jump to my current model of bed cover. I'm going to go over what's good about it, what's bad about it. Then we're going to install the next 2, and we'll go over the pros and cons list to those as well. Now, before we get carried away, we're going to go over some of the kind of specs, high level, product details of each bed cover, and then we'll get into the install. So the Truck Sport trucks made by Truxedo here, it is obviously a vinyl top. It's got 2 internal cross members to help with vertical support. Now, I have had up to, it had to be close to 12 inches of snow on top of this, and it held just fine. Now, I don't know what the weight was specifically. It is definitely not designed to hold weight, but I have myself seen it hold, at least close to a foot of snow. Let's call it that. It obviously has the Velcro sides, so you don't get the security you would want, but these do only cost around $300. Next up is the Xstang Exceed bed cover. This is the hard folding unit. You can see here, this is the main body that'll fold out. We've got the 2 rails as well as the hardware and gasketing material there, These panels here are all made of aluminum, and they have an Endura coating, which is kind of like a vinyl coating on there to help with corrosion. It can hold up to 500 pounds, which is the most of the group here, and no drilling is required for the installation of this unit. Now, this does run right around $1,000 depending on the make and model of your vehicle. And then in this box, you can't see much, but it is the Retrax 1 MX bed cover. These run right around $1,400. It can hold up to 300 pounds. No drill installation as well. Comes with a limited lifetime warranty and has a aluminum rod reinforcing polycarbonate material that slides back and forth. That's what it's made out of. So it's polycarbonate with aluminum, and this unit is aluminum with the Endura coating on the outside, and the Truxedo obviously is just the vinyl. So let's jump into the pros and cons of the Truxedo Truck Sport soft rolling bed cover. I've had some people ask me in the past, why did I get a new expensive truck and then put kind of an economy grade bed cover on it? And just full disclosure, even before Real Truck sent us these new bed covers, I have had every different style of bed cover known to man. Soft rolling, solid painted fiberglass units, the one with the struts that come up and cover the bed sides or the bed rails. I've had the hard folding, and I've had the hard retractable, similar to the Retrax. And they all have their place, and it's not a matter of the cheapest one is the worst. You buy the one that does the job you need it to do, if that makes sense. This one, I was not trying to just get the cheapest bed cover. I actually wanted something that would be as flexible, literally, not just that it's soft, but because I do so many different things with this truck, I can't have a solid fiberglass top like I had on my last half ton, because obviously I pull gooseneck trailers. I couldn't, at least at the time, I didn't want to get the hard rolling because I needed the space in the front. The bifold could work depending on what you're hauling, but a lot of times I actually stuff this bed to the brim, and you can actually overfill the bed cover and it will actually stretch. So you don't have to fit below the bed rails. You can actually overload it and still close this on top of it, which is something you can't do with any other bed cover. Now, there are compromises. One, it wears out. The vinyl is tearing and peeling in the corners. It's not safe. All right, let me rephrase that. It's not secure. Anybody could walk up in here and reach into my bed that quickly at any time. It could be cut. It doesn't look the best. You can see here there's some waves in the vinyl, and you can stretch and tighten that, and that's one of the things I do almost every day. I unpeel it, stretch it, tighten it, and re-Velcro it, and then it does hold tension for a while, but extended periods on the road, lots of driving, high winds, and it eventually gets that slack back in it, and it does that wave going down the highway that everyone watching this video has seen. And there's nothing wrong with the wave, but it's not the cleanest appearance. So while it does afford you to do a lot of things that you can't do with other bed covers, it does have its drawbacks. So at the price, if you're just trying to keep your stuff out of the weather, this thing works pretty well. But if you need it to do much else, if you need it to keep your stuff secure, if you need it to last a long time, if you need to be able to put stuff on it, I would never put anything on top of this. I don't trust it. Like I said, it has held snow that was very evenly distributed. I would never try to walk across this. Whereas with the hard ones, you absolutely can. Other than a few scuffs on the corners, it has held up really, really well. Structurally, it's as good as the day I bought it. Those spring-loaded latches are what holds it down, and it rolls up really nicely. Let me show you that real quick. You can stand at one side and roll it up. Now, one of the things about this is that it's either got to be closed or opened. You can't, without some external device, you can't really leave it midway opened or closed, which has never really mattered to me, but that is something to consider. And you lock it in place like that. Now, the installation of this bed cover was very easy. I can't remember exactly, but I think it took me in the ballpark of 20 minutes maybe to install this, maybe less. I don't recall. All I know is very simple, it's affordable, and it has held up well. It is the most flexible unit that you can get on the market right now, in terms of it will literally stretch for you. It takes up no bed space, and it does provide cover from sun, rain. Looking at the bed, you can tell it doesn't keep a lot of dust out, but so far I've never found a bed cover that really keeps a lot of dust out. And you have to kind of remember, I put this thing in really, really dirty, dusty environments. If I never left pavement with this truck, I think it would probably be fine. So if you do mostly city travel, that's not really a consideration. If you do a lot of dirt roading, well, then you just expect this anyway. So the Truxedo Truck Sport bed cover is a very good unit for what you pay. It's not low quality, even though some people might be led to think that due to the price. It just lacks some of the things that you get in a higher priced unit. And really, it's just the cost of materials. It's not a question of the quality of the product. So we are going to uninstall this unit. I'm going to clean out this filthy bed real quick, and we are going to install the next bed cover. One thing worth mentioning before I remove the old Tuxedo is that at the time of installation, I was worried about how well this gasket here where the RamBoxes hinge, I was worried about how well it would hold up, because when you open the RamBoxes, it actually folds that gasket upwards, and I did not have high hopes for it lasting. And much to my surprise, you can see just how hard of a bend that puts it in. I mean, it's extreme. And still, even with the ridiculous amount of times I open and close these RamBoxes, this gasket has held up exceedingly well. Now, some people have asked, does it impair the movement of the RamBox? And the correct, or the honest answer, I should say, is that it does slightly. So before, when you would push the button, you could open this up and it would just open all the way and it would stay. That gasket actually puts some downward pressure on it, and you kind of have to hold it, or the gasket actually will hold it completely open and it actually kind of locks it in place. So depending on how you look at it, it could be viewed as a good or a bad thing. You can watch here, I actually have to push pretty hard and it pops out. Now, that sounds pretty nasty, but I've seen no adverse side effects from that in 2 years of use. So I approve of this soft rolling tonneau cover. It actually has been quite good for me. We got the bed cleaned out. I decided I'm going to run to the car wash and we are going to clean this out properly. That way the new bed cover has a chance to keep some of this dust out, and we'll be able to see long term how well it does. So we're going to run to the car wash real quick, vacuum this out, give it a nice quick blasting. We'll come back, we'll pull out the old unit. All right, the old bed cover's out. The truck bed is cleanish, and we will now install the Xstang Exceed. That is a mouthful bed cover. So I won't show you the whole installation of this, but I will kind of go over the parts. It's 2 side rails with the little strut piece that holds the bed cover upright and open when you're traveling down the road, 1 for each side. They should slide into the channel of the RamBox rail. And then the next piece is just the actual aluminum folding panels themselves. So this should go pretty quick and easy. We'll do a quick time lapse and I'll be back whenever this is installed. So that took 20 whole minutes to install the Xstang Exceed hard folding bed cover, and I will admit it is nicer than I expected, and it installed way easier than I expected. This was probably even easier to install than the soft rolling bed cover. Might have taken a few minutes longer, but the way that the rails work, it engages directly with the RamBox rails, utility rails. So you don't have to fasten anything to the actual truck. You link into what's already fastened to the truck, which is a really smart design. And the RamBoxes work to full. I haven't seen them open this much since the truck was brand new. I forgot they even opened all the way like that. So very cool. I will admit I didn't take the time to install all the gaskets just yet, because I'm not sure whether I'm going to go with this one or the rolling. So I'm going to wait and I'll do the gasket work once I know for sure, because you know how gaskets are. Once you stick them, if you peel them off and redo them, they never stick the same. So initial thoughts on this, very positive. Let's go ahead and open it up and look at it. So unlike a lot of the hard folding covers I've used and seen, this one has a rotating dial instead of the pull string. You see here? It just twists. It's a similar mechanism, but it's a little cleaner look. Now, we do still have the pull strings on the second fold and the third fold. So they didn't get rid of that altogether, but it is, the initial one at least is different. These lock in place. What is this? Unlock. Like that. Get the other side. This is a little different than some of the other strut securing, folding mechanisms. Some of the other ones they're movable and they have to lean against the truck, which in my opinion was a gigantic no-no. But if you don't mind it resting against the truck, that's fine. This actually locks it away, so there's actually nothing coming in contact with the truck itself, which I really, really like. So we'll pop those off. Oh, I forgot to slide the clip up. There's my clip. And we'll pull this one off. It does have to rest against the truck at that point, which I guess is minimal. And then it folds back down like so. And you can leave it in this locked position. It has the straps, which lock into the front so that wind will not pull them forward. And just like that, it is installed. And like I said, this is supposed to be able to hold 500 pounds, so you actually could stand on this, walk on it, load stuff on it. I would probably take it easy, but it is very robust, at least at this point. These little gaskets, these weather seals around the outside, they are a little loose. I'm assuming that's from shipping. I think probably over time and with a little sunlight, those will lay down flat. But I have noticed on some other models, not this one specifically, that is something that is just kind of, you have to live with it. I mean, it's impossible for that to be perfectly fixed and static and have good contact with the frame when it's constantly being folded and stretched. So there has to be a little bit of elasticity and a little bit of slack in it. Otherwise, it couldn't make those bends. So, you know, compromises, like I said, what do you want? But in terms of a hard cover, man, that looks good. So you can see here that the finish has a slight texture, kind of a matte look, but very smooth. And you know, they advertise this as seamless, and I wondered how they called it seamless. That's because this top coat here actually is seamless. It kind of acts as a hinge, this Dura coating, I think they call it. Not Dura, Endura coating, excuse me. And you can see here the little latching mechanisms for the front. Really, really like this. Definitely an upgrade from the old soft cover. But one thing I want to show you, that a little bit of a downside. Well, one, there's only a turn handle on the driver's side. But two, check this out. This is a problem for me specifically, but not others. My fifth wheel, I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep calling it fifth wheel. My gooseneck hitch is actually covered when it's in this position. So if I were to open it to transport, like that, I actually couldn't pull my gooseneck trailers. I would have to put it in the full upright mode, which in my opinion is probably fine for short term or short distance, I should say, transport. I mean, the struts seem heavy duty, but I think that's just asking a lot out of a bed cover. I would prefer to be able to leave it down like this and then hook up my gooseneck. So as it stands, that might be a deal breaker for the trifold. So I do like that when you open it all the way up, you have all of the bed space, which is a huge plus. And for most people with half tons, this isn't going to be a problem. But for my specific needs, this is a little bit of an issue. So let's uninstall this one. We'll put the rolling bed cover in, and we will see what we like about that one. All right, so kudos to bed cover number 2, the X-Stang. Impressed. Most impressed with the simplicity of the install and how strong and good it felt despite how quick it went together. So happy about that. Now we're on to the Retrax One MX rolling hard bed cover. Significantly more parts, but they also utilize this built-in rail system. So if you've got RamBoxes and you worry about how nice bed covers will play with your stock setup, it actually makes things a little bit, I don't want to say easier, but the fact that you don't have to do any of the heavy duty bolting is nice. I say that this system is a little bit different on the Retrax. It uses these little T-blocks. We'll have a square nut slide into the bottom, and then this bolts into the top, and then the rail assembly will connect to this, and there's going to be 3 on each side. So we do have to do a little bolting. It came with pretty decent hardware and an Allen key, an Allen wrench. The Allen wrench is the wrong size, but it's okay. I've got a ratcheting one anyway. So we're going to go back to the time lapse. We're going to try to do this. The last one I did by myself, and it was pretty simple to manhandle that. This one I may have to enlist some help, and it will probably take a little bit longer. So give me a few seconds and we'll see when it's done. Well, there you have it. That was only 50 minutes by myself. Now you can see I had a trusty helping hand there, and with 2 people it would be easier, but it can be done in less than an hour by yourself. You do need a few more tools. You need a tape measure, random bits and pieces. The Allen key that I said was the wrong size actually fit the adjustment little nuts on the rail, so it wasn't the wrong piece. It just didn't come with the tools to fasten those hex head bolts. Overall, I liked it a lot. I have a little bit more tweaking to do. I need to bring this back just a little bit to get a little bit better seal against the tailgate, but it's getting dark and I don't need to fine tune it to kind of show you guys the total operation and give you my feedback on it as a cover. Haven't even taken the plastic off yet, but it really does seem nice. I don't know, surprisingly, if it's as secure as the trifold that we had on before this. It is obviously solid. It has a key. It's supposed to be able to hold 300 pounds. But it's, you know, it's lots of moving parts, lots of bearings, little bearings all the way up and down this cover, which I'm a little nervous with as dusty and dirty of environments as I operate in. I don't know how well that's going to jive, but we'll see. Probably got to keep it cleaned and lubed. The trifold, it's very simple, and it's heavy duty, and it works well. Not saying that this isn't. We're going to see. Time will tell. We're going to give it a beating. We're going to see if it lasts 150,000 like the soft rolling one did. And who knows? So obviously you have a key. You can lock it. You can adjust the tension more or less to allow it to kind of go back and forth. If you have no tension on it, it will retract automatically, which I don't know that I care for. And it opens up. It doesn't inhibit RamBox movement at all, just like the second one. I actually expect the hard covers to be a little less water resistant because the soft cover had that gasket that went all the way around and even covered the RamBoxes. So it stayed pretty dry. Obviously, there's going to be water getting in this. None of these are rain tight or waterproof. It's just, you know, water resistant. So let's see it close. Locks. There you have it. And you can open and close it with or without the bed or the tailgate up or down. Works the same way. Another thing I liked about this particular unit, the hard rolling covers I'd used in the past that I'd mentioned earlier were all aluminum and a little heavier. These are, when I say polycarbonate, it's plastic. It's and it is reinforced with aluminum, but it's actually quite light. I expected it to be a lot heavier than it was. The trickiest part was getting these side rails onto the canister and kind of into position, and that's just because it's kind of it's a little more awkward than heavy. Hopefully this polycarbonate will hold up to the UV rays. There we go. That looks better. You want to take a closer look? Let's take a closer look at this. You can see here it's that kind of dual wall polycarbonate material. It looks really, really clean. Nice tight finish. Should clean up well. And the back here is where I still have to make one tweak. You can see here there's just the tiniest gap, maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/2 inch max. I'm going to loosen my clamps. I'm going to bring the whole thing back, tighten it back down, and that should put the tailgate right up against that gasket without kind of limiting any movement or anything like that. Look from this angle. So, on the last bed cover, I was a little bummed that in the, open but not fully open position, it limited my access to the gooseneck hitch. Sorry, we got race car drivers in the neighborhood. Now let's see how much room you got with this one open. And with a little more adjusting, you could have this thing where you push it, it just opens all the way. And then locks, obviously, it can lock in any position along the track. But now I have access to the gooseneck hitch. The biggest gripe, at least that I've heard with these units, is the canister. And that's basically where unlike the soft tonneau cover that rolls up and on top of the bed rail, this style rolls inside, which means it displaces, room in the bed, of course. So that's something you got to be okay with. But, that's actually better than some previous iterations of this. That is a more compact canister than I've used before. So it's not as bad as it could be. I'll still be able to stow some tool bags and boxes underneath there because I actually do carry 5 or 6 toolboxes about that size. That way I don't really lose much space, and I can still use my gooseneck hitch and see out my back window, because if you pull gooseneck trailers, it is always nice to be able to see out of your rear window. Very clean, very solid. All I have yet to do, finish peeling off the plastic, put my 2 drain tubes in, and make that final adjustment so that we got nice contact with the tailgate. Like I said, I'll do that off camera. No reason to fiddle with that. Let it get dark on me. Well, guys, that's it. The tale of 3 covers, all in one day. They all have their pros, they all have their cons. They're all different prices, so you really just need to decide what you want it to do and go from there. Honestly, if it hadn't been for the gooseneck hitch, I probably would have gone with the trifold. I think I will like this, though. My biggest concern with these in the past has been the size of that canister. And like I mentioned, it's significantly smaller than it used to be. They used to pretty much go all the way to the floor of the bed and they would come out, 16 inches, and I can't afford to give up that much space, not in a bed that's already short and narrow because of the RamBoxes. So we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys posted. I would love to hear what you guys think. What do you guys have? What did I not mention? I feel like I'm fairly up to speed on all the pros and cons, but hell, there may have been something I didn't think about. So share that down below. One final thank you to realtrek.com for sponsoring this video and sending us these parts. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Look forward to talking to you. And as always, thanks for watching.